Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you for joining me here. Wanted to break in and maybe do a quick little show about Mr. Erik Nelson. We're going to go back to the Deadline Studio interview from the Tribeca 2017 Film Festival. This should be fun. Let's go ahead and go through some of this and stop me if you've heard this one. I'm sure you all have by now. Let's see. Today is 11/12/2022. Breaking in here for this brief announcement. Very, very brief. Okay, so the interview itself, as you can see, is really only about 5 minutes or so. So less than 5 minutes. So that's all. And I'm going to go ahead and play this.
Gray State depicts the rise and fall of a American hybrid, a visionary filmmaker, a political activist, an Iraq veteran, a family man who is slowly driven into insanity by the accumulated forces of modern American culture.
Slowly driven into insanity. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that funny? So he's saying David Crowley is slowly driven into insanity. There's really no evidence of that. Again, there's no proof to back that up, but that's never stopped Erik Nelson from slandering David continuously um, in multiple interviews. This is just the one interview that I was able to find out there. There's another one that I'm looking for of him sitting on a couch, it's in somebody's home or something. And so I think that's the other one of two interviews that I know of that Erik Nelson did during this time. I'm sure there's a longer version of both of these, but listen to what he's saying about David Crowley. This is just crazy.
An Iraq veteran, a family man who is slowly driven into insanity by the accumulated forces of modern American culture.
It's an interesting concept, obviously, and for people who have never heard of David and don't know anything about this case, any of the relevant facts, they just are going to just take this guy at his word for it. And why wouldn't they at first glance? There's no reason not to at first glance. But listen to what he's saying. Look at what he's saying here. The accumulation of all this is what drives David into this madness. It drives him crazy. The police are saying something very similar too, that David is going crazy. Hey, Sophia. Thanks for joining here. What is Let's see. I can't watch this yet. I'm still working on the blood spatter. Oh, okay. No problem. It'll be up. It will be up for your later TV enjoyment, I'm sure at some point. But this interview, I don't know. It's just something I've been wanting to kind of do a little commentary on, and finally got a couple minutes here and figured I'd work my way through this. Uh, hey, Catherine. Yes, we are. We are live. We are absolutely live. If you'd like to come in and join, you can. Feel free as well. Let me know. I'll find a way to send you a link somehow. But yeah, I'm just kind of running through this four minute clip of Erik Nelson, and I figured why not go through it with this guy. So I'm gonna go back to the beginning. I it's just baffling, but let's go back and listen to exactly what he says here.
Gray State depicts the rise and fall of a American hybrid, a visionary filmmaker, a political activist, an Iraq veteran, a family man who is slowly driven into insanity by the accumulated forces of modern American culture.
Modern American culture. I mean, it's just a bunch of hogwash. Hogwash, I would say, but that's just me. Notice how he doesn't say anything about David being a Christian, right? He's only talking about things that would fit into the narrative. A family man, this guy. Sophia, Catherine, I'm gonna send this link to Facebook since that's the easiest way for me. So you will have that link there, and I'll continue on. Definitely feel free to hop on in.
I've always been fascinated with self-generated documentaries. I produced Grizzly Man in 2005, which documented a man's depiction of his spiraling into madness in the world around him.
Another one. Does this guy just go after people that are spiraling into madness? Is that what he does? Is that his thing? His thing? I haven't seen the Grizzly Man, so I can't really comment too much on it. But I know the story of it, and obviously they use this guy's own footage. So it's just, yeah, let's just take everybody else's footage and why not do something with it? So I mean, that's basically what Erik Nelson did with the Grizzly Man. Um, I wish I could find more interviews that he has done on this case, but I found this one. There's another one out there again with him sitting on a couch. That one's pretty interesting too. That one's a little more frustrating than this one.
And for 10 years was looking for a project that had that same kind of power and potential impact. And when I heard about the death of Treadwell and his family, I went online and I saw the material that he had posted online, the material that he thought was ready for the world, promoting his film and his life. And I was mesmerized and bowled over because the things he was putting online made me think, my God, if this is what he wants to share with the world, what is locked up in his hard drives? The quest began. Well, a poet once said, the purest.
They'd love to show this photo or this. Yeah, it's a photo. They'd love to show this. Somehow this is supposed to um, show David spiraling into madness when this was taken in, I believe, 2012 or so. Um, so it's very interesting how what they choose. Remember, they have everything of David. So what they choose to use and what they choose not to should show you everything you need to know about Erik Nelson and his hit piece, the Sloppymentary by Erik Nelson. That should tell you just about everything you need to know. And the film obviously does not solve the case, does not even attempt to. It just attempts to confuse people and it attempts to go after the lazy people, the people who just want to believe David Crowley is guilty. It also goes after the good-hearted, innocent people who don't have time to really look into this case, that are just going to watch this for the very first time and think, well, this must be true. It must be true. If it's on TV, it's true. No, I'm just kidding. But I think you get the point there.
Products of America go crazy. And David Crowley went crazy, and David Crowley documented his own life and did it in such a way that makes me feel he knew that there was an ultimate end use for the thing. And he composed the music. He did his selfies, and I'm going to pull up my silenced phone. He didn't do selfies like this. He did selfies like this, 16:9 ratio. And even Humble Family Movies, you can see in the film if you watch closely, he is talking to his wife and he puts the selfie down and you can hear him rustling papers and propping it up. So he has the perfect aspect ratio. And you're thinking, why would he do this? What would?
Well, because you want the best quality. I mean, like, you should always put the camera that way, I would think, not the way that the other way. I don't know what the big deal is about putting the camera this way. I hold my camera this way. I never do photos this way. Sorry, unless I want a full body shot, maybe, but otherwise, it should always be this way. That should be a standard rule. What do you think, Catherine?
Well, yeah, when you're doing landscape, you're getting a wider view. So of course you're going to do landscape. If you're doing portrait, it's so narrow. I mean, David was a filmmaker, for crying out loud.
I maybe I missed his point. Maybe he hasn't gotten to the point there of why it's such a big deal to have the camera that way. But I didn't look at it and say, "Oh, why? Why is the camera placed like that?" It wasn't a big deal to me.
Oh, because it made sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like you said, it's what we all do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in film or anything, but I would think anyone who is in film should know that.
Yeah.
But whatever. I'll continue on.
His wife, and he puts the selfie down and you can hear him rustling papers and propping it up. So he has the perfect aspect ratio. And you're thinking, why would he do this? What was he thinking? Why is he documenting this? Like Grizzly Man, we had
Why is he
a
documenting
team of
this?
5 people who were looking for interesting things in the Treadwell material, which was about 90 hours.
Why is he documenting this? Why is he well, doesn't he say many times why he's documenting all of this? Isn't that pretty clear of why David Crowley is documenting all of this? Probably because he's planning for the future. Not too many people would document this and then do what he's accused of.
And which time is he referring to here when David is filming Kamel?
I think it's hard to tell, but I think he's referring to when Kamel is telling him about the experience, about the hearing the voices, because there's only a couple clips that make it into the film that really use that. So that's my guess. I don't know. Maybe he's talking about every single time, but
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't his journal explain that he's doing that because he's concerned about her and he wants to keep a record of what she's saying because he's
right.
concerned for his wife? I thought this Erik Nelson knew what the hell he was doing.
He just makes a big deal about the camera being, portrait, I guess. I don't know.
Well, being landscape.
Landscape, yeah. Portrait, yeah. Well, I mean, not being portrait, right? Yeah. So it's kind of weird. Like, I don't know. What do you think, Sophia?
Yeah.
Here we are. We're all in portrait now. So.
Honestly, I think he's over dramatizing or Okay, however you say the word. I'm sorry. Having trouble today. I honestly, it's just bullshit. Excuse me. That's what it is. He's just trying to make excuses for why David is quote unquote crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And see, landscape is so much better.
Yeah, it looks good. You can see all my books in the background and see everything else. It's not just about me at this point.
Yeah, and the thing is if you're going to record something, landscape is easier for a person to watch. Just like you always hear okay, maybe you don't, but I've seen memes where it says, if you're going to fight on Black Friday, make sure that those recording it do it in landscape and not portray it. So, okay, that's just common courtesy.
Yeah, I don't know why he makes a big deal about that or what the relevance is towards it. But listen, I mean, this interview is only 4 minutes or so, 4.5 minutes, and I really don't know what point he's trying to make. It's just a bunch of slander towards David. That's really it.
Yeah.
And in this project, I went through everything, and I had a small team of editors who were...
He went through everything with the small team of editors. That's very important stuff there. Who was a small team of editors? I think we know a few of them.
Putting together the various sequences from Crowley's archive. So we just sort of saw what was there. And then we became familiar with this vast amount of footage. And every time we would just make these discoveries. There's this footage that he shot. We called it the basement tape, where he's in the basement of his home acting out scenes from Transformers with a beautiful, just this madness scene. And
oh my gosh.
It's
beautiful madness. Madness is so beautiful.
He really does like that word, huh?
He does.
Talk
madness
about reading what you want into things. Oh my gosh. To me, I see somebody who's either practicing a scene or he's just playing around, or he might be recording audio footage to put in to one of the scenes.
Mm-hmm. And why focus? Why would Erik Nelson need to focus on that? Right?
Because it, quote unquote, makes David look mad.
Right.
And crazy.
And that's all that he's using. He's got everything. He's got everything. He's not going to use anything that's going to make David look good, except for in those first 20, 30 minutes maybe, but not towards the end.
But the thing is he totally skips over the part where Kamel calls and he turns down the music or pauses it, and he's like totally normal. So whatever David was doing, he was either role playing or he was practicing. It wasn't like he was insane or something.
He wasn't trying to live out the Transformer movie or something?
No, I used to be a performer, and also in college when during speech class, it's very common that, especially because David was he performed in his own movies as well as writing, and he did so much
That's
stuff.
true. That's true.
And what we always did, and as a performer, we would videotape ourselves in practices. People do it all the time. Musicians do it all the time because you can see what you look like, you can see how it's coming across on film. And so it makes perfect sense that David would be doing this. It doesn't make sense that he's making a big deal out of it, except he likes to twist things. So if he
Mhm.
that, and if you don't know that that's what people in the artistic world do, you're going to think, oh, he's on to something. But everybody, just stop and think of every performer, go on YouTube. How many people do you see them filming themselves as they're practicing a song? How many people film themselves as they're doing a cover and singing over another song and then posting it? And that's okay. But if David's doing it, all of a sudden now it's madness.
Yeah, I mean, look at TikTok. Everybody is doing it. Is everybody insane? Well, I mean, probably half, but
They might be.
I mean, just everybody's doing it.
Let's see what else he's got to say. Oops.
It's a Travis Bickle moment. It was just such an amazing scene, and he shot 3.
Who's Travis Bickle? Anyone know who that is?
I'm gonna go look him up right now.
Oh, Travis.
Travis Bickle. That's a dated reference, I'm sure, but
Beautiful, just this madness scene, and
his whole movie, the whole sloppumentary is
Driver.
madness. Taxi Driver.
Taxi
Okay.
Driver.
Yeah, he was the protagonist. Wow. Wow.
So that's the that's the Robert De Niro character. Interesting. Taxi Driver. Interesting. Okay. Very cool. More people in madness. Everything's madness with this guy. It's all madness. He's madness.
It's a Travis Bickle moment. It was just such an amazing scene, and he shot 3 of them. What Werner Herzog brought to this project for me was a constant reassurance.
He shot 3 of those scenes like that. That's it? Of all the stuff he had, only 3 of those scenes. Interesting.
That shows real madness.
That I wasn't
If you look at,
pursuing.
Okay, can you pause for a second?
Yeah.
If you look at David's BX and Hothead channels, he has several different like video clips or shorts where it's almost like Travis Bickle kind of stuff going on, if you want to go with that. Just kind of really weird insanity, but it's all acting. And it's kind of almost like method acting in a way, too. I think that's the right term for it, where a lot of it is just body language and facial expressions and everything. So
these actors are a special breed. I'll definitely say that. They're a special breed. I checked out of that a long time ago, fortunately. It wasn't crazy enough.
Hothead, he has, which by the way, I am not very happy about certain videos disappearing off of Hothead and BX. Somebody obviously has control of those.
Are they still disappearing or recently or?
There was one that I remember watching on the BX exchange, and it was them setting the stage, and they were taking blood and like flicking it and spraying it onto the walls. And
Yeah,
that
was
video
that with Annie
was completely
Mason?
scrubbed. I think it was, and that video was scrubbed off of their site.
I think I have it somewhere.
If you can find it, I would love to have it.
I did a whole stream, like a whole replay stream. I don't know if it was on this channel or if it was on my original one. Go ahead.
Let's see. They have For the Bitch, Pandemic. What else? Coin Toss, which is more
with
of
the chess
Yeah, the chess one, that one, the Science of Self movie trailer.
Science. Yeah, that one's good. I like that one. And then the one with
The live news clip also was
yeah,
interesting.
that was a good one. He's a really good filmmaker.
Yeah, he's working with the things that he knows and what he has available to him, and he is able to make all this come together.
He's working like this. That's it.
Yeah, and not like this.
Not like that. The shaky cam thing too.
Okay,
That
you
drives
guys.
me crazy.
Okay, do
Uh-oh.
you see the difference between my camera
Yeah.
and your camera? Do we see anything?
iPhone?
Mine's not an iPhone.
What do I have
Not an
Oh,
covered?
iPhone?
the clip. Hey,
What
What is
oh,
that? Oh,
what is
It's
that?
covered.
Oh, you have.
it's
My
covered. Okay.
cameras are covered.
Oh, you're
and-
one of those. Okay.
Oh no,
You're
no, no.
one of those.
For very good reason. The job that I worked last, my employer, when I found out that they access everybody's, and it kills me. People take these into the bathroom and you don't cover your camera. Your camera is accessed. They're watching every freaking thing you do. And yes, I know this for a fact. Can't tell you how or why, but I know it. So immediately when I found this out, I went home and I covered every TV, every camera, because I would go into work and I'm like going, why are you guys' cameras and your laptops covered? And they looked at me and they go, oh, you'll find out. I cover them all. I never leave anything uncovered. So you guys cover your cameras or don't take your phone in the bathroom. One of the two.
Well, David covered his too. His
Yeah.
I don't know about his camera, but he definitely covered his laptops.
Laptop. Yeah, because I don't know what they had back then, but he should have. So yeah, and I
Yeah,
tell
he was on it.
tell everybody, I go, I know you're gonna think I'm crazy, but cover them, cover them. I wish I could block the microphone too, because they listen through your microphone and they look through your cameras. But oh well.
There's certain cases like this phone I have comes with an exterior case or a case that covers the cameras for you. And then you just clip it on, clip it off. But that's pretty cool. When it's like this, yeah, there's nothing on both sides, right? Because there's like 4 cameras on some of these ones.
Yeah,
Look at how many things you plugged up. I think you did one of those is a flash.
yeah,
But
this
still.
is the flash.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I cover that for a reason as well. But yeah, 4 cameras total, 3 in the back and 1 in the front.
Okay. Yeah, all covered. All right. Wonder if Erik Nelson he didn't cover his either, huh? When he showed his phone. I didn't see that.
Nobody wants to watch him.
He's safe. He's got this like weird Woody Allen ripoff image going on here, but all right. Let's see what he's got to say.
Kind of his MO. He just rips off everything.
Oh, Woody better be careful not going to madness. He'll make a film about him.
Project. And the problem is, if you're looking to Werner Herzog for a reality check on craziness, you may be kind of in the wrong orbit. But he was tremendously supportive. And
What does that mean? I don't know. And the
I
name
guess
dropping.
he's calling Warner crazy.
Okay, Warner's crazy. His
Everybody's crazy.
mentor. Everybody's crazy except him, which is usually what a
Yeah.
crazy person thinks. He's the only sane one.
Crazy people don't ask themselves if they're crazy.
Right.
They don't
'Cause
realize it.
Yeah.
and really liked the film and reassured me that the tree I was barking up was the right tree. Politically, it's a core sample of American crazy. It's not just the politics.
A core
Oh,
sample
ho, ho,
of
stop
American
that for a
crazy.
second.
Wow.
What?
So half of
That's
America
insane.
is crazy then, because from what you and I found, Catherine, all the stuff that he was saying about the right wing and stuff like that, and how we're all conspiracy nut jobs, and now he's saying politically, yeah, like he totally didn't do this politically.
I wonder
This
who
wasn't a
who I wonder who Erik Nelson's voting for year after year. I could give
We
a
got-
pretty yeah.
They got the Fetterman and Zombie or whatever he is, Uncle
Zombie.
Fester.
This guy's too much.
I
He's really
know.
too
That's
much.
why I can't wait for him to write my chapter on him.
I'm gonna go back a little bit just for
liked
fun.
the film and reassured me that the tree I was barking up was the right tree. Politically, it's a core sample of American crazy.
I mean, he's basically saying that he has this agenda. He's barking up a certain tree. This film is
Mhm.
not about telling you what really happened here. It's not. And unfortunately, it was marketed like that to a lot of vulnerable people and a lot of good-hearted, innocent people too. But this was made for people who desperately want to believe that David Crowley is guilty and do not want to look any further into this case. That's the way that I've
And,
always felt about this.
and it was to paint a certain side of America or a certain political side as Looney Tunes and conspiracy nut jobs.
That's true. Yeah, and that kind of went over my head. I think the first time that I watched the film, I didn't really get that from the film, but listening to Erik Nelson, listening to the people the critics, the film critics, and everything was either Alex Jones, Donald Trump, right wing, et cetera, et cetera. It was never just about David Crowley and why he spiraled into madness. It was always about all of these other things that are trigger words for a lot of people. And so it's going to
Yeah.
make them think, oh, okay, well, if he was with them, if David Crowley is associated with Donald Trump, if he's associated with Alex Jones, if he's associated with the right wing, then or they called it alt right. It was called alt right,
Yeah.
and which I don't even think was a term that existed when David was still with us. But it's just like it's a big mind game, and that's really troublesome because I don't like to see people getting tricked. I have no problem with people putting the information out there, and if people disagree with everything that I'm saying, then fine. But I do not like when people purposely go out and trick other people. Period.
Exactly. And if you notice his wording, he says that he spoke with Warner, where he's saying Werner. If you notice, he uses the V and the W. But anyway, he's talking to Werner Herzog, and he says Warner tells him he's barking up the right tree. Well, Warner had never read any of the documents, so he's wording this. If you're not paying close attention, people are going to think, oh, then he's telling the right story. Well, if you don't know that Warner doesn't know a darn thing about the freaking case, what he's telling them is you're barking up the right tree and presenting it the way you are, if that's where you want to go.
That's
Is what
interesting.
it is. So it's like, this guy, they double speak. In fact, they like triple speak, I swear.
So he may
Mhm.
have tricked Werner or Werner, both of them. He may have tricked him into thinking, oh yeah, this must be the real story.
Well,
This must be it.
they probably didn't even care because they're looking at it from a movie standpoint, and is it going to get views? Or are they going to make money? And
Yeah.
so he's like going, oh, well, okay, yeah, if that's what you're doing it right, because that will lead people and then you'll get what you want. So, but barking
Yeah.
up the right tree and in regard to the case and any information, no, because again, Warner Herzog had zero information. He didn't know about this case. The documents hadn't even come out really by then.
Yeah. They had just all this data that they did not feel necessary to use, which really sucks. To me, that really sucks because they had all of this stuff that they could have used, and for whatever reason, I think we know what reason, but they didn't want to. It did not fit into the story they wanted to tell, and it just is more proof that they're trying to paint this portrait of David that is not accurate, is not truthful, and that's really bad. That's sad, and that will come back to haunt them if it hasn't already. I'm sure it has. Let's see, just a few more
It's not
minutes.
just the politics, it's the selfie culture, it's the narcissistic idea.
But there's a selfie culture.
Oh my gosh.
How old is this guy? I mean, I feel like I'm out of it sometimes with the kids, the hip kids and everything. I didn't know there was a selfie culture. I had no idea about that, but okay, we'll go with it. We'll go with the selfie culture because it's not just the politics; it's the selfie culture too. That's something we got to be really concerned about. We don't take selfies.
It's madness.
crazy. It's not just
It's mad.
politics. It's the selfie culture. It's the narcissistic idea that I can make a Hollywood movie in my backyard with my friends and I'm going to sell it. I can become a YouTube star.
What is this? This guy's really painting
He's
David.
angry because David was doing it and he was doing it on his own. That's jealousy. Did you see his reaction? You read his body language was just, it was like vitriol toward David. He's angry because David was doing something he could never do.
Yep.
We'll go back.
It's the selfie culture. It's the narcissistic idea that I can make a Hollywood movie in my backyard with my friends and I'm going to sell it. I can become a YouTube star. I can
become a YouTube star. Yes.
That's anger and vitriol towards someone who was doing something he couldn't even do in Hollywood. And here David did do it in his quote unquote backyard. And not only that, David got Hollywood to buy it.
Oh my gosh, this is such a crappy person. Oh my gosh.
This is eye-opening, Greg. I've never seen this before. Thanks.
See, and I've always said that he had something against David. I've always said it. Sorry, I have allergies so bad.
I wonder if David would have leaned a little bit more blue if this guy wouldn't have jumped on this case. And I think David did lean a little bit more blue, by the way.
Well, independents tend to. Libertarians, they tend to. I mean, there's some politics that they will lean towards blue. That's why they're libertarians. It's like they're a mixture of the red and the blue. But, and in a lot of ways, I'm more libertarian than I am conservative. Well, I am conservative, but more than GOP. So I've always wondered how many people that believe David killed himself and killed his family, how many of them are either left or right or in between. I've always wanted to do a poll, but I know that would just start a huge fight in the group. So, but it's interesting because a lot of the people that I have talked to or that I've observed that believe that David is guilty, I mean, straight up believe that David is guilty, they lean more politically left than they do right.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, it's just interesting.
I've definitely seen both. And yeah, I think the reason why, if you were to do a poll, there may be a big argument or something like that is because there are so many people on all different sides with all different theories and views and political views and everything, who probably all get it, and they get it that there is still something really, really wrong here. And because this was still coming off the Barack Obama, really it went from the Bush anti-war thing where, that's where I kind of got involved in, was with the second Bush Jr. war, after 9/11, and I was a Democrat. I would always vote and always grew up like that. And so then when Barack Obama was pretty much following and keeping this war going, I think it changed a lot of things. For me, it really made me think differently. I shouldn't think of things in terms of red, blue, of this party, that party. And I really started to change my focus. And so that's why it's pretty interesting that David is a libertarian, because he can get crap from both sides, from the red, from the blue, from those bleeding, the ones that bleed both colors. But I mean, I still think there are a lot more people that just, when it really comes down to it, they really don't care. Red, blue, let's get the best person. We want to vote for the best person. We want to support the best person. And also, I'm not going to look down on somebody or treat somebody differently because their views are different than mine. Unless they attack me, then we got a problem. But aside from that, like it really doesn't bother me that much, where people lean. And it's interesting that Erik Nelson and a lot of these people who are saying that David Crowley was guilty never mention him being a Christian. To me, that's a lot more important than focusing on his political views or him filming in a backyard. I mean, Erik Nelson mentions backyard, he mentions basement, two trigger keywords, two things that you would say
They're
to some.
demeaning.
They are very demeaning. Very
Mhm.
demeaning.
Yeah. And when you watch the BX videos, see, I know exactly where he's getting the backyard from, is because some of the promo videos for the BX to send to people saying, hey, come bring your business to us in Minnesota, is filmed in a backyard. And it has the please help us sign up there on the back of a house that they're filming in. It's from 10 years ago. And it's really, really interesting that he did say that because it's right there in their stuff.
What is ANCAP? I've never heard of ANCAP. If Jet mentioned that in the chat. I really don't know what that is.
Oh, we're wait. Come on, Jet. Let us know. Oh, God.
Anarcho-capitalism.
So
Anti-status,
anarchy,
libertarian, anti-political. Yeah.
anti-political.
Yeah.
Okay, I could see that.
Multiple times into spiritual awareness and believe that there are demons possessing, my wife. It's a strange religions that the tree I was barking up was the right tree. Politically, it's a core sample of American crazy. It's not just the politics. It's the selfie culture. It's the narcissistic idea that I can make a Hollywood movie in my backyard with my friends and I'm going to sell it. I can become a YouTube star. I can shift religions multiple times into spiritual awareness and believe that there are demons possessing, my wife. It's this strange epicenter of all of these different things that define America today.
Can you pause it for a second?
So it's
David never said that demons were possessing his wife.
Nope.
That is him making that up.
Yeah, and the way that he says all that is it's almost like he doesn't even know what he's talking about. He's just kind of throwing they're throwing things at this wall, at this bloody wall. They're just throwing everything up there because that's what you do when you're very desperate and you don't have a very solid theory. You don't have a very solid view on this case, and you want to what he's claiming David wanted to do was to make money, to be a star. Kind of sounds like that's what Erik Nelson is trying to do too. I don't believe Erik Nelson is doing this for free because he cares, because he wants to help this family. I don't believe he's going to donate any proceeds that are made from this film to this family to help them grieve or anything like that. So what is the motivation for Erik Nelson to make a sloppumentary on David Crowley? If it's
to form opinions, to get everybody to believe his line of thinking and make money.
Yeah.
How much money did he make off of this?
No.
Would have had to have been a good amount to get the Netflix deal. To get it on A and E. It only aired there once, maybe twice. But still, I'm sure they all got paid for that too. And then the Netflix deal, that was probably a pretty big deal too. I know that, I hear a lot of stories that you don't really make that much from Netflix. I don't know, but you can also buy it. And then I think, didn't you say it's on Discovery now? So I mean, they're going to keep moving it. Yeah, and that's a big platform. I think that's going to be a pretty big platform going forward. I think the Paramount is part of that too, right? I believe so. Anyways, I'm waiting for Star Trek to come back.
And also, he mentions a demon entering his wife. He's taking that type of an analogy straight from the 2013 script.
Yeah.
because David doesn't talk about demons and stuff like that, but the 2013 script does. And so, anyway, I'm wondering where he either read that script or he's being told about it from other people who knew about that script.
It could be. I mean, based on the videos I saw from David, that's what I got out of it. I don't think it's that far fetched to think that that's what was happening there. You know, and we don't know if he has other clips or anything that he chose not to use either, especially if he had quote unquote everything. If he got everything there, it's very interesting the clips that he chooses to use and the ones that he doesn't, and how he uses them and where he puts them. As far as a timeline, this is not like a timeline film. A lot of the stuff in Erik Nelson's Sloppymentary are not in sequence. They're purposely
Yeah.
out of sequence to draw this painting of David, of who he wants you to think David is, which a lot of people, I just believe, are just not buying it. And Erik Nelson had to have known that. So he's not catering to the Gray State fans. He's not catering to real researchers who want to know what happened here. So who is he catering to?
The everyday Joe Schmo that's not going to look into it, but will pay it attention and get him money.
Yeah. So
It's less about the politics. If Trump is the symptom, I think this film is about the disease. I think it's in some ways a cautionary tale. I think people should think twice before putting on Facebook. I think they should think twice about
that's gonna be a good quote for the book.
Politics. If Trump is the symptom, I think this film is about the disease. I think it's See,
this is interesting here because I hear this a lot about, and I don't even know if David Crowley knew who Donald Trump was, aside from whatever he may have read or anything like that. But at this point in 2014, Trump is not running for president yet. I know he's talked about it. He's talked about it since the 90s, and he's been out there. He's been in movies. He's been on wrestling shows. He's been on films. He had the popular TV show. So maybe that's where it comes from, which I've never watched. But it's just very weird how he's saying the symptom. How do you have... I don't know how why do they want to really tie David Crowley to Donald Trump? Just doesn't seem like there's anything there. Donald Trump is more of a Democrat, if anything.
Well, he doesn't.
The alt-right.
That's the problem. And this is what I'm talking about. This is the perfect example of him picking and putting in just thoughts to grab some, because now with that comment, he's going to get a whole bunch of the Democratic Party to latch on.
That's right.
Oh yeah, if they like Donald Trump, then I'm gonna hate David. And that's all he's doing. He's throwing out bait that people will pick up on and not pay attention to what he calls the core. They won't pay attention at all.
Yeah. Interesting.
And the thing is David was not alt-right. He was a libertarian. Technically, he did not even fit into that term or that definition of what alt-right is.
Do they just label libertarians as alt-right? Is that what they're because I hear this term alt-right and it's like there's no alt-left as far as I know.
Well, when Obama was president, it was always, oh, you're a racist, blah, blah, blah. Anything to shut you down. And then once Trump got into office, oh, you're a Nazi, right? Everybody got called that. Anybody who disagreed got called a Nazi or a fascist, that kind of thing. These are just words to shut people down. Anybody who doesn't think like the left is alt-right. It doesn't matter anymore because that's how politicized this whole world, or polarizing it's been. It's just you're either left or you're right, and nothing is in the middle anymore. And it's sad, honestly, that you can't enjoy a documentary without a political agenda now.
So when this came out 2017, so Trump had 27, 2018. So
Just one.
he just got into office. So I can
Mhm.
totally see why. And Erik Nelson needs to latch on to that. Needs to latch on to Alex Jones, having Alex Jones in the film. It's a very polar. These are two polarizing people, and
Mhm.
he's trying to mix David into that and make David a polarizing character. I don't think David is. I think the case is. The case itself can be very polarizing and very toxic, and it can create other problems. I know I've had people who would watch my channel until they found out that I like Trump, and until they found out that I voted for him, that I fully supported him, and then things changed, you know. And what it didn't matter if we agreed on David Crowley because we disagreed on Trump. Then that became a big issue. With Alex Jones, it was the same thing. People, Alex Jones fans, you know, and I would tell them, man, you know, this guy, whatever you want to say about Alex Jones, but if he's so brave, if he's so, you know, if he cares so much, why didn't he even talk about the case? Why didn't he give it a
Mhm.
platform? Why isn't he looking into it? He's looking into so many other things, beings from other countries, into gay frogs, into suicidal shrimp. He'll talk about that, but he won't talk about David Crowley. That's pretty interesting
Suicidal
to me.
shrimp?
Suicidal shrimp, yes. He actually,
What does
Alex
that
Jones
even mean?
It's funny. I mean, there's so many funny memes, so many funny video clips out there. If you Google Alex Jones suicidal shrimp, it is just some of the funniest stuff I've ever heard. I guess the shrimp they jump off the cliff and die to their death or something. I don't know. I don't know how a shrimp commits this. I think what he was really saying is the shrimps. There's something that the chemicals that goes into the water that make the shrimp,
Antidepressants in the water.
they go crazy, and instead of running against whatever eats shrimp, you know, whatever fish and everything, they run towards them. I think that was what Alex Jones was really saying, but obviously it was just too funny for anyone to even take seriously to
I
get
want to
past
watch
that
this
point.
clip now.
It's so funny. I'm not a Howard Stern fan. I was way back when, but there's a good Howard Stern clip where Alex Jones is on Howard Stern talking about it. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It's just so funny. Anyways, back to this guy. Let me pull it up here. Mr. Nelson.
In some ways, a cautionary tale. I think people should think twice before putting on Facebook. I think they should think twice about how they manage their life.
This is a cautionary tale? Really? This is a warning to all of us who make videos in our backyards and recite film scripts in our basements and then jump on Facebook
And record YouTube videos to try
and
to get
record
famous.
YouTube videos. Wow. I mean, basically it's just saying don't do anything. Just don't.
Sadly. So it's less about the politics.
I gotta hear that again.
It's a strange epicenter of all of these different things that define America today, sadly. So it's less about the politics. If Trump is the symptom, I think this film is about the disease. I think it's in some ways a cautionary tale. I think people should think twice before putting on Facebook. I think they should think twice about how they manage their lives to the outside world. I think they should think twice about what news sites they read. I think they should. It's a cautionary tale in some way.
What news? He's talking about Alex Jones right there, wouldn't he? He's pretty passionate about this, but I think he's trying to fit his own personal views into David Crowley's life.
Yep.
Way. And you know, the fact that there is no I call this the feel bad film of 2017. There is no easy, tidy ending where everything sorts out. We all sing Kumbaya and the Wookiee gets a medal at the end of the film. It's not that.
Is that why he had
It's meant
Paleo
to
running
be.
around in the backyard at the very end? To make everybody feel good?
Mm-hmm.
Except it just creeped a lot of people out.
Yeah, here's the dog that ate everybody according to what the official theory is, and let's just show him running around, and who knows, maybe he'll take a bite out of one of the filmmakers or something.
He should have.
That's pretty interesting. That's a Star Wars reference, which Werner Herzog got a part in the Mandalorian TV series, which I didn't even realize. I had no idea who Werner Herzog was or what he looked like. And I'm watching this Star Wars TV series right before I canceled my Disney Plus. And who is this guy? This actor is horrible because Werner Herzog is not really an actor. As far as I know, he's not an actor. I don't know. Maybe he is. If he is, him and Danny Mason would just be like neck and neck. They're just right there on the same level. But when Werner Herzog's character got killed off in that story, I was very happy. So I was like, okay, now I can really get into this because it's just something about it. But I don't know. It's hard to follow some of this stuff that Erik Nelson is saying. That's why, it's
Maybe
sometimes I like going back and looking at this.
I mean, it could be the editing for this clip too,
That's true.
like the 4 minutes, because it seems like all over the place, and everything that he's doing is, anything that David believed in was bad. Everything I believe in is good. Don't post on Facebook.
Yeah, think twice
that's
before
literally
posting on it. He even talks about like the way that you present yourself to the public, as if you shouldn't just be yourself. You shouldn't just present yourself the way that you are. It's almost like saying you need to be fake. You need to be. It's a cautionary tale, so you should be cautious about letting people know who you really are. When really, Facebook, social media, that is how it should be. It should not be a bunch of fake people doing fake things. It really could be used in that way, but Facebook and social media could be used in a good way too. You can also use that to be yourself, where you don't have to be fake. You don't have to act like your life is so great. You don't have to act like you're this fake person. That's what Hollywood is, right? We don't want another extension of the Hollywood flavor. What's nice about YouTube and Facebook is you can be yourself, put yourself out there, and that's it. You don't have to be fake. You don't have to conform to these certain things or sacrifice your soul to get on camera. You can just do it yourself in your backyard and in your basement, as I prefer.
I call this the feel bad film of 2017. There is no easy, tidy ending where everything sorts out. We all sing.
That's another good quote too. The feel bad film of 2017. I like that one.
I think he's actually got that wrong. It's the leave a bad taste in your mouth film of 2017.
And 2018, and probably every year after that too.
Yes.
You won, Erik.
Kumbaya, and the Wookiee gets a medal at the end of the film. It's not that. It's
it's not just the Wookiee that gets a medal at the end of the film. Everybody gets a medal at the end of the film. Has this guy even seen Star Wars? That's pathetic.
Meant to be chewed over. It's meant to be watched twice. It's meant to be dissected. It's meant to be analyzed. And anyone's analysis.
Well, you did a great job, because here we are,
Picking
5
it
years
apart.
later, analyzing it. Mission accomplished. Now let's give him his own medal. Let's send him a medal here.
It's meant to be chewed over. It's meant to be watched twice. It's meant to be dissected. It's meant to be analyzed. And anyone's analysis of what happened is probably as good as mine. What we've done is tried to present, in essence, the story in as true a fashion as we can. And
that's why you fail, because it's not the story in its truest fashion. It is the hit piece. It is your view, what you think happened here. It not even in its truest fashion, in the most manipulative fashion, and just the fakest thing that I've ever seen. I've never seen a film like this.
It's
where
propaganda.
they treat David Crowley like they treat the character, a U.S. soldier, like this. It's really sad.
I will say that, because I have to hand it to Mr. Nelson here. He was the one who led me to understand that David was innocent. because that was one of the first things I first heard about David Crowley from Richie from Boston. And then I saw something, I found you guys' group, and then I go, well, I don't really know if these guys really know what's going on. And then I watched that stupid, as you call it, sloppymentary, which is perfect. I watched that. And the first thing I did after it was over, I went to Facebook and I went to join your group because I'm like, this is so wrong. There's so many things wrong with this. It's not funny. So it led me to the path to where I am today. So thank you, Mr. Nelson, for showing me how screwed up you were and wrong you were.
Actually, the version of the documentary that I saw warned people not to go to the group.
Really?
Yeah, I remember this.
They threw that in there.
I was like, this was in 2017. No, was it 2017 or the end of 2016?
Warning.
When it first came out that week before New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it. It popped up. I thought, oh, this is a documentary. It looks good. And I started watching it, and I'm like, wait a minute, what is going on here? Because, like I've said numerous times, just so many times, is that I was lied to, and I knew it. And as soon as I got to the end of the movie, and basically they're talking, and they're saying, don't go to the group. The group is, just propaganda and false information, that kind of stuff. I'm ad-libbing now because I can't remember exactly what it was saying, but there was a reason why they didn't want people going to the group. And so I immediately went to Facebook and looked up the group. I was like, maybe I could find the truth here, because they're making a point to say, don't go to the group. So,
well, I saw how they had purposefully minimized you and Dan, and I noticed that you and Dan were the only two people who were even questioning the official narrative. And everybody else was jumping on board. And the people I watch behaviors, I watch facial expressions, the micro things that happen, like a flitch of an eye. I watch all these things, and I'm watching these people, and I'm like going, they're all very uncomfortable. They're lying. Some of them are just making stuff up on the spot. Some are saying stuff they think is true. And I'm like, but yet here, and I'm not blowing smoke up you and Dan's backsides. That's not it. But I'm watching what you had to say and then what Dan had to say. And you're like, where's the smoke?
I'm just checking. Just checking.
But anyway, but you guys were coming at it from a different angle. You weren't, you didn't present and talk in the same manner as everybody else. So I'm like, wait a second. You got, like you were saying, Sophia, all these guys it was just misinformation, disinformation. And then I got a different feel from you guys. So yeah, like Sophia, I went, as first thing I did, turned off that TV, turned on my laptop, and went to the group and never looked back.
Awesome. We just got a few more minutes here.
Let the audience or the viewer decide what they take away from it.
I'm going to go back to just what he said.
It was probably as good as mine. What we've done is tried to present,
probably,
in essence, the story in as true a fashion as we can, and let the audience or the viewer decide what they take away from it.
That's it. That's Mr. Nelson's film. That's all I wanted to cover here today. Any final thoughts before I head on out?
Thanks for showing that. Thanks for letting us join, because I had not seen that before.
Yeah, if I can find that other clip, we can jump back on at some point and do something similar. That one I think is a little bit longer. That's the one where he actually mentions the quote unquote sloppymentary, which I thought was pretty cool. It's like, wow, we've made it here. We've made it.
I found that in an article, actually. Right after I saved it. I'll have to send it to you, because someone wrote it in an article online, and they used the in quote sloppymentary, and I go, they heard Greg. They're including Greg.
That was pretty cool. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. So I'd love to find that clip. That would be great. He has a nice little audio clip from Mr. Nelson at some point. But all right. Well, thank you both for joining me here on short notice, and we'll definitely be in touch. And God bless everybody. Thank you all for watching, for listening. We got some new things coming up here, and we are working on a new book. All three of us, and a few other people. I've actually received some. I don't know if this person wants me to mention it yet, but I have received a chapter from another person who is going to write their thoughts on this case, and then we got a few other people that we're still waiting for. So I don't want to reveal it yet until they actually have something there. And we are still shooting for a January 17th, 2023 published date, but it's not set in stone. There's still a chance that we may have to push that back, and I have no problem with pushing that back because I want this book to be as good as it can be. So I'd rather take more time if needed, and then put it out in the summertime, so everybody can sit outside in the nice warm air and read this book. That's kind of the plan. So I know I've been kind of pushing for a certain deadline, but there's a good chance that we may not make that deadline, and the book may get pushed back a little bit. You never know. You never know. So God bless you all. And Catherine, Sophia, thank you for joining me here. Catherine, you have any new, or are you and Sophia working on any new videos that are going to be on your channel anytime soon?
We will. I've been having to deal with some personal stuff, so she's being very patient, and so she's been spending all of her time on the book, as you'll hear. But yeah, so give us time. We have stuff in the works, but it'll be a bit yet.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I've been working. I just finished because I love to, I've tried this a couple times, writing, typing chapters out and then writing, and I love handwriting chapters first and then just typing it out, because then I'm like in the second draft mode. So it's it really works out. And then sometimes I write it on paper and I don't really like it, and so I can scrap it right there. But if I've already typed it up, it's a little more difficult, it's a little more tedious. So I found I've been working on this Danny August Mason chapter, and so last night I ended up writing about 4 or 5 more pages for it. And the offer for Danny August Mason is still out there. If he ever wants to debate on this case, I would be more than happy to set up a day, to set up a time where we can do that on a forum just like this. Danny August Mason is the one who made that offer, who made the quote unquote challenge. And I accepted that challenge, and then he went dark. Never heard from him after that. So it's an open door challenge for him. If he ever wants to, we can definitely make that happen. So God bless you all, and until next time.
What about Sophia?
Sophia, you got anything in the works here? When are you gonna get your YouTube channel going on?
Yeah,
up and running here.
Probably after the
Afternoon.
first of the year. I've been thinking about it seriously.
Okay.
So I'd like to get a different microphone, but I'm waiting until I'm done paying for Christmas.
Cool. I can relate to that.
Yeah. So, and I'm also been working very hard on the chapters and trying to get those out. So
Yeah, very good. Yeah, there's still a few I have to go back and look at, finalize, and we're all going to need to have another session to talk about where we are. And I'm not a spreadsheet person, but I know that I need to get this on a spreadsheet. It'll make my life easier, and then we can calculate what chapters we all have done, what chapters are still working on, et cetera, et cetera.
I love spreadsheets. I love to make them. I will
Do
do
you?
one for
Yeah.
you. Just send me the info.
Okay.
let
Yeah,
Catherine
that
make
would
it
be
up,
good.
please.
That was part
Good.
of my job, creating databases
Good.
and stuff. I love it.
Very cool, because I hate spreadsheets, but I feel like I can't keep doing it on paper, because then I just end up scratching things out, and it's just, I have a paper system, but it's not going to work for this project, to make sure that I do everything that I need to do on time. So
Yeah.
And to make sure all of our chapters come in, and that we make sure that the final version is the one that ends up showing up. So I'm very happy about that. Very happy
Well,
about this project.
did you want to discuss some of this off air?
Yeah, definitely off air. Probably won't have time now, but
Mhm.
maybe in the next day or two, I'd love to do another phone call and we can all chat about it.
Okay,
All right.
sounds great.
Get some updates once I update some of my files here. But I got to type this out, and then I think, Sophia, I think I still have to send you back another chapter or two. So,
I sent you the parallels and the DNA. So
okay.
those are two really big chapters for you to go through.
Okay. Yeah. All
So,
right. All right.
okie
Well,
dokie.
everybody, have a great day. Have a great Saturday. And until next time,
Yep. Have a great day.
too.
Bye.